Hi, I'm Shiva Panchakshari. Now I'm going to explain you about error probability of binary FSK modulation. Errors are inevitable when a signal is transmitted over communication channel. Obviously, errors are expected at the receiver. The noise on the channel, that is white noise, is added to the transmitted signal, hence it is additive white Gaussian noise. So this noise makes the detection of the signals little difficult. So due to which we may get some errors. Okay, with what probability we get the errors? What is the probability of error? We shall derive an equation for this probability of error for this binary FSK. Okay. So before we start the derivation of this binary FSK error probability, let us look into few points at transmitter and receiver of the BFSK modulator. So let us run through these topics quickly. So we will not go in depth about these topics. So first point to be noted is BFSK is two-dimensional modulation technique, which uses two basis functions, phi1 and phi2. Both of them are different in frequency. The frequencies are f1 and f2. Amplitudes remain same. So accordingly, we use phi1 of t to represent symbol 1, phi2 of t represent symbol 0. Both of them are having same amplitude. Okay, so that means the two basis functions are representing the two symbols. So here the notations EB stands for bit energy and TB stands for bit duration or symbol duration. Okay, let us look into the other representation of the transmitted signal. That is S of t, BFSK signal. This is the signal for symbol 1 and this one is for symbol 2. So the transmitted signal is basically a sinusoidal signal, right, with frequency f1 for symbol 1, f2 for symbol 2. So conclusion. So two symbols, two sinusoidal signals with the frequencies f1 and f2. f1 represents symbol 1, f2 represents symbol. Otherwise, phi1 of t represents symbol 1, phi2 of t represents symbol 2. Keep this point in mind. Let us look into signal constellation. Okay, so from this S1 of t and S2 of t, we can get two combinations, S1 with phi1 and S2 with phi2. And other cross correlations or cross combinations are also available which produce 0. So signal vectors, look at this one. For this symbol 1, the transmitted signal is S1 of t. Signal component is S1, which is two-dimensional. So phi1 component is root EB, phi2 component is 0. For second symbol, phi1 component is 0, phi2 component is root EB. So keep these points in mind. So in symbol 1, phi1 of t component is greater. In symbol 2, phi2 of t component is greater. So if you go to the receiver part, the first operation we perform here is the received signal is multiplied with phi1 of t and phi2 of t parallelly and integrated. So this operation x of t into phi1 of t, x of t into phi2 of t integration gives you two values x1 and x2 which are called observable elements, because these two elements will decide the output. So, okay, since there are two elements, the challenge here is to identify which one is larger, because if the signal transmitted is 1, that means the transmitted signal contains phi1 component, so x1 becomes greater than x2. So y goes positive. If the signal transmitted is bit 0, then it is phi2 dominant. So because symbol 0 is transmitted with the help of phi2. So x2 becomes dominant than x1. So this is a negative quantity, so y becomes negative. So here the decision is to decide whether y is positive or negative. So that's why I take the difference of x1 and x2, which gives us y, right? This y contains two parts. One is signal part, another one is noise part, okay, right? So to make this decision, we need to Do some more exercise here. Probability. Whatever the operation I explained just now is again expressed mathematically. X of t, the received signal containing two parts, as I said, Si of t plus W of t. Si of t is the transmitted signal. The is either 1 or 2. W of t is the white noise, that is AWGN noise, additive white Gaussian noise with zero mean. Mean means expectation. So expectation of this noise is zero. So this noise is not expected in communication. That's why it's called zero mean noise. Variance. Even though we are not expected, noise exists and it introduces the maximum power deviation of n naught by 2. So maximum power deviation of n naught by 2. So one side of the spectrum. That is the variance. So X of t becomes random because of this W of t. Actually, Si of t is not random. W of t is the random. So because of it, X of t is also random. So this X of t produces two components, X1 and X2. They are also random variables, right? Which contains the signal components as well as noise component. So the Y, X1 minus X2. Since X1 and X2 are random variables, Y is also random variable. So we assume that Y is a Gaussian random variable because of the white Gaussian noise. Let us assume now the symbol 0 is transmitted. Okay. If symbol 0 is transmitted, let us see the possibility of getting the 0 as output. So for that, we take the help of Y, the Gaussian random variable. Since it is random variable, we calculate mean and variance. So the mean of Y, the variable Y, is equal to expectation of Y when 0 is transmitted. This is Y slash 0. Nothing but what is the expectation of Y when 0 is transmitted? So that means it's a conditional value. So it's going to be Y nothing but X1 minus X2. That's why expectation of X1 minus expectation of X2. Okay. Since 0 is transmitted, what we expect is always X2, not X1. Right. So that's why this part is going to be 0. Why 0? There is noise, no, but noise is having 0 mean. Mean of the noise is 0. That's why we'll have to with only signal component. Okay. But X1 is not at all expected because we transmitted 0. That's why X2 is expected, whose value is minus of root EB. Actually, X1 and X2 both contain signal component of root EB, but this minus comes from this operation, negative operation. Okay. Next, we shall go to variance. The variance of random variable Y is equal to variance of X1 plus variance of X2, because variance is a squared value. Variance is a squared value. So it leads to plus value here. Addition takes place. Variance of X1. X1 contains two components. X1, see X1 here. X1 contains two components, signal component plus noise component. What is the variance of the signal component? 0, because signal never varies. So signal component variance is always 0. What varies actually is noise due to its randomness. So variance of noise, here I have given already, variance of noise is n naught by 2. That's why variance of X1. X1 contains noise, X2 also contains noise. That's why variance of X1 is n naught by 2. Variance of X2 is also n naught by 2. When added, we'll get n naught. So in summary, the Gaussian random variable Y has a mean value of minus root EB, variance of n naught for the transmitted symbol 0. If the transmitted symbol was 1, then the mean should have been plus root EB, and this variance remains n naught. Okay, so depending upon the which bit was transmitted, the mean value changes. Now, let us come to signal space diagram. So the signal space diagram is divided into two parts. One region corresponds to transmitted symbol 1, another region corresponds to transmitted symbol 0. So we know that when bit 1 was transmitted, whose value is root EB, it is transmitted with the help of phi 1 of t. That's why root EB falls on phi 1 axis. Similarly, root EB falls on phi 2 axis for symbol 0. Right. So the middle line, the middle portion, that is this plane passing through the origin, will divide the region into two equal parts. Right. So if the received signal falls in region 1, we decide in favor of bit 1. If the received signal falls in region 2, Z2, then we decide in favor of bit 0. If the opposite happens, then it leads to errors, right? What is that fellow? Look at this one. So there are two kinds of errors. Error addition. Error of first kind. Signal S1 of t is transmitted. Okay, let us assume that signal S1 of t corresponds to message point 1, that is symbol 1, with this amplitude root TB. Okay, but due to noise, the x1 is the value of the received signal. This is the received signal component, which is coming from S1 of t, which falls in this area, that is region Z2. It's supposed to fall in region Z1. When it falls in region Z2, we decide in favor of 0, but actual transmitted symbol is 1. So then the decision is actually erroneous. So likewise, we can come across one more error of second kind. This is the opposite. 0 sent, but the received signal component x2 falls in region Z1. So two errors are possible here due to noise. So in the earlier slide, we had defined a random variable y, and we found its mean value as well as variance. Now we should define probability density function of this random variable y, right? That to conditional probability density function, because we have assumed that symbol 0 is transmitted. So the probability density function fy of y slash 0. So this says that symbol 0 is set, okay, is given by this equation. This equation is Gaussian distribution function. It is chosen because the random variable is assumed to be Gaussian. That's why the PDF is always Gaussian distributed function. It is an exponential function with variable square, x1 minus mu y. Mu y is the mean value of the random variable y. Sigma y square is the variance of the random variable y. Variance appears here also. Okay, this is the Gaussian distribution function, the PDF. Now the probability of error, or simply error probability, is given by the integration of probability density function. So we integrate from 0 to infinity, right? Why the limit 0 to infinity? Because as I said, when the symbol 0 is transmitted, the symbol 0 is related to the component x2, which should fall in the region Z2. But if it falls in region Z1, then it is an error. So region Z1 is related to the axis phi1, the positive side of the phi1, whose range is 0 to infinity. So that means when you integrate from 0 to infinity, that is the region Z1, you will always get error. Okay. So now the probability of error P is given by this integration. This integration is this one. So we have substituted this Gaussian distribution function in this integral, and we get this one. So 1 by 2 pi sigma y square is constant. This kept outside the integration. Now we shall do this integration. So we have to integrate exponential of minus variable square with respect to y. Let us see how to do it. Right. So what I have done in this second equation is I have substituted the values of mu and sigma square. Mu is minus root b, so minus into minus is plus here. Then n naught by 2. No, it is n naught. Variance is n naught here. N naught here, n naught. Okay. So I've substituted. We are waiting for the final results of this integration. But this integration, this integral, what I have shown in PE, resembles one of our standard integrals, that is Q function. So if you look at the definition of the Q function, Q of x is equal to 1 by root of 2 pi, integration from x to infinity, exponential of negative variable square z. Okay, this looks almost similar to our PE equation. Okay, integration is there, 0 to infinity here, it is x to infinity. We shall change that x to 0 later. And this exponential function same, the square is also same. Okay, so some with minimum changes, we can easily use this Q function to find this integral. Okay, Q function is very important for us because those integrals are tabulated. Okay, so if you know the x value, Q of x value is given in the table available in many books, right? So now what we do, we'll compare Q of x equation with P equation. Okay, let us see. So first what I'm going to do, minus z square by 2, I compare with this fellow. So minus minus leave it. So z square by 2 is equal to this quantity, x1 plus rho dv whole square by 2. I equate these two, then I'll find the value of z, or I find the value of x1. Okay, from that I find this value of dy and dz. Okay, then I calculate the limits. As I said in the previous slide, z square by 2 is equal to x1 plus rho dv whole square by 2 and not 2 cancels here. Okay, then if you take the square root here, you're going to get z equal to x1 plus root dv by root n naught. Otherwise, if you cross multiply, that into root n naught is equal to x1 plus root dv. This is a relation between x1 and z. Okay, so to find dx1, we differentiate this equation. x1 differentiation dx1, root dv differentiation 0, constant. Okay, here constant into z is there, so constant remains same. Z differentiation is dz. Okay, apply the limits. X1 has two limits, 0 to infinity. When you calculate the 0 to infinity using this equation, you will get these values. If you put x equal to 0 here, then z is equal to x equal to 0. Root n naught is taken left side, so that is going to give you this value. And when x1 is infinity, that is also infinite. So we have calculated new values for the new variable z, and we introduce this new changes in values into this equation. So we ended up with this equation, and here dz is equal to dx1 by so dx1 is equal to root n naught. This is substituted here. Root n naught is cancelled, and we end up with this equation. This equation exactly resembles Q function, except this lower limit. There it was x, now it is root of ab by n naught. So we can assume 2ab by n naught as x. Okay, keeping that in mind, you can write the probability of error P as Q of root ab by n naught. That is, Q of x is now written as Q of root ab by n naught. And if you know the root ab by n naught value, you can easily find the answer for this complete integral. So probability of error of BFSK modulation technique is given by this equation in terms of Q function. So to know the probability of error, we should know two values. One is EB, another one is N naught. EB stands for bit energy, N naught stands for noise power spectral density. Right. So the probability of error depends on energy and power values. Right. So for very good communication, the probability of error should always be less. So it is also in practice to represent probability of error in terms of another standard integral, that is complementary error function, or ERFC of x. Okay. Since we already found in terms of Q function, now I would like to convert the same thing to complementary error function using this relation. Q of x is equal to 1 by 2 ERFC of x by root. Sorry. So Q of x, so take this as x, bring this up x here, substitute here. Divide this value by root 2. That time you are going to get another equation for probability of error, that is P is equal to 1 by 2 ERFC of root of EB by 2n naught. Okay. So now I suggest you to use any of these two equations depending upon the table available with you. Okay. You can Google or you can refer to any of the textbooks of communication to find these values of ERFC or Q function values. Okay, so both are available. So after calculation, we get the same answer, right? So we shall also discuss about this word BER, bit error performance. BER stands for bit error performance. So whatever I used to say so far, error probability is also called bit error performance. Bit error performance is the performance parameter of the digital modulation scheme. So So BR is defined as number of error bits divided by number of transmitted bits. That means out of n number of transmitted bits, how many bits are erroneous? For example, if 10 power 6 bits are transmitted, that means 1 megabits are transmitted, and if you get 1 bit error in that one, then BR is 1 divided by 10 power 6, nothing but 10 power minus 6. So 10 power minus 6 is the BR, or probability of error. So probability of error is also denoted as BR. So BR is the bit error probability. BR of BFSK modulation scheme is given by the same equations what I discussed in the previous slides. I will just reproduce just for your convenience. So this word is used in literature, okay? But we use the word BR only when we calculate probability of error in terms of bits, not in terms of symbols, right? Okay. So yeah, I think we have discussed a good amount of information about calculation of error probability of BFSK modulation. Thank you.